I'd first like to take, and on behalf of the Board of Directors, thank everyone for attending, and especially thank those presenters, particularly those that have come from a considerable distance for coming and trying to give us the latest and best information that we can find. And I think now maybe a round of applause for the presenters, just from the standpoint of thank you. The board met night before last. I'll get there. And a decision was made that we would send out a list of attendees with email addresses. Now, there are two caveats with that. Number one, if you do not wish to have your email address on that list, please let Neil know, and we'll send out your name but not your email address. The other is, if the email address that was printed on your badge insert is not the correct email address, please let Neil know so that it can be corrected. I know of at least one case where an ISP was changed, so therefore the address was changed. So if you do that, we will send that out in an email. As I said, please make it for your own personal use only. It's not for sharing. It's not to sell to some commercial entity that's trying to sell us who knows what. And judging by some of the ones that I've been getting lately, somebody's sold my address to some, or picked it up somewhere from nefarious things like, what was I getting? Imitation Omega watches was one of them. I've got several of them for high-end ladies' purses. So please keep the list within your own precincts and use them for what it's designed for. Also, from the board meeting, we're still looking at having another Warpstock next year. Time, location to be decided. So keep an eye on the warpstock.org webpage, and we'll let you know once we've made a decision of where and when, and made the arrangements for the appropriate accommodation. So that's still to come. Now, if you have suggestions or comments about this Warpstock that you wish to make, would you please do it in an email and address it to president@warpstock.org, and then I will share it with the rest of the board members. So if you have suggestions of topics for another year, that would be welcome. If you have comments, positive or negative, about the accommodations we had this year, that would be helpful. Basically, what we're looking at is giving ourselves a little guidance, and by everyone contributing, it makes it so much easier for us when we have to sit down and make a decision, because we can see what's going on. Oh, and you can include in that email if you would like to do a presentation next year.
Yes.
Please put your name, your contact information, and a general topic. I don't say, you're going to do something very narrow. you can be very general about it or very specific depending on how you feel about it. And I'm quite sure that in planning the schedule for next year, we'll be only too happy to have those suggestions. And it might save Neil or whoever is doing it next year from having to run around rounding up bodies and finding out at the last minute that people are coming or not coming, and trying to find out what topics there are. So those are things that we would appreciate. And as I said, the email address is president@warpstock.org, and I will forward it to the appropriate place. On the sheets, there was also talk of a raffle or a giveaway, and I've got good news and bad news, and they're both the same one. We didn't get anything to give away this year, which means that we don't have that usual pile of old OS2 magazines around and then trying to figure out what to do with the ones nobody wants. And the same applies to books, etc., that we've had donated in the past. We appreciate donations for a giveaway. If you have something that you think would be useful to others, keep us in mind for next year. But for this year, we don't have anything, and that means that we don't have to dispose of anything, and you don't have to explain when you get home to the wife why you're bringing in all of these odd items to add to the collection. So that's the good news part. Bad news is we didn't get anything. And of course, since we're a not-for-profit, we're not being sponsored by any company, we don't get perks from that company. We used to get all sorts of things when IBM still had OS2 donated to us, which we would draw for or give away or whatever, and we've had, I don't know, over the years we've had a great collection of software and books, and I think we've even had hardware on occasion.
We have had hardware, yep.
So better luck next year.
I've got a desktop computer.
So if you were coming here this year hoping that you would be able to take home some priceless object, forget it. But the priceless object you will take away is knowledge that you've gained by being here. And that's probably worth more than any of the physical things that we gave away. And other than that, unless any of the other directors have comments they want to add.
I think we have time to take suggestions now if people have them.
If you do have comments or suggestions now, if you want to take and use the notepad and leave it with one of the directors. There's 4 of us still here. Louis and Martin and Neil and myself. We can do that, or send it in an email. The only reason I had originally suggested in an email was then we have it in writing.
Yes.
And it's not on a little slip of paper that somewhere along the line disappeared.
Usually in my laptop bag.
Yeah.
And then doesn't get seen until,
That's right.
Till the next time you clean it?
Yes.
so
No,
if
till next Warpstock.
if
Yeah.
no one has
When I
any
dig that far
comments
down.
or questions they want to do now. Oh, yes,
So I would like to, if you think it appropriate, pose a question to the group here. I was talking to Louis about the idea to have something in Boston, because nothing's ever been done in the Northeast. So
Yeah.
he said, so there are a couple of issues. Boston's a very expensive town, but there are a lot of people who know about computers in this town. And so I thought, okay, we could give it a try. I found a place which was was it $138 a night for the room?
I think that was what the number was.
Yeah, it was a new hotel. I've been there. It was just opening up. They'll give you a promotional rate. So you decided to come here, and this is actually a fabulous place here. I just saw, the Drury was the best for sure. That's the best we ever had. Yeah, but this was quite good. The rate was very reasonable. It's easy to get here from the airport. But Lou said there was another consideration, which I thought I had a fix for, but in his mind it wasn't. So I chose hotels. Okay, so any place within an hour of Boston is 200 to 300. The Holiday Inn, which is a subway ride from the Boston airport, is $330 a night. I don't know how it's got to be cheap, you know. And I know 330. So I asked the general manager, you know, how is it possible? 300. He says because everybody wants to come to this town, and there's not enough hotel space. Okay, I found 136, 130, whatever it was. But the problem, and it's on the subway. But the problem was, and it's a free subway ride from the Boston airport. It's free if you board Boston airport. But the question was, you had to change from I think the blue line to the orange line, and you said, okay, all these.
And you gotta carry your bags with
Yeah.
you
So,
when you
but that's
change.
the question. Would it be? Can we ask the group here? Suppose you had to take a free subway ride, which is 20 minutes long, but 10 minutes into the ride, you have to get out of one subway train, cross a platform, and go to another subway train. Would that be a reason to discount this as a location? So I don't know how many people out, you know, for me that would obviously be a problem, because I travel a lot of stuff. But some people just travel with carry-on, so I don't know, is this,
Well,
did you do a
see-
survey?
Well, here's the actual crux of the matter. It's not that is impossible unto itself, but when you juxtapose going to Boston at 135 a night, and then whatever hassle or expense getting from the airport to the hotel, versus the price for this hotel with a free shuttle from the hotel to come to Orlando, which location is more attractive?
And breakfast.
And breakfast. And breakfast.
Because of the hotel.
I don't
Got to use
think, I don't
breakfast.
think we got, did we get continental breakfast?
No,
tonight?
we didn't get a breakfast there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't recall, I have to go back.
So
and
it's
look.
the overall value, not unto itself. In other words, if we didn't have any other options, yeah, that would have been fabulous. But looking at the other options that we had before us, Orlando seemed to just look better.
But would you get?
John had a
other
great
people-
option for us back up in Canada.
Yeah, and Canada was always good too, but would you get other people if you had something in the Northeast, or wouldn't? Is it not sensitive to location? I don't know.
We might get other people, and
Yeah.
whenever we go to a different location, we always get several locals from that area.
Yeah.
Or several people who may have some desire to go there for whatever reason. Interestingly enough, when we were in Windsor in 2006, and we had John Dvorak come to speak
Right, I
with us.
remember.
Well, John had spent some time there when he was a kid. He wanted to drive around and see the sights. And I drove up and he said, "Can I borrow your car keys?" And I tossed him my keys and he tooled around the town. So he had a desire to go there. So we got him for a discount to speak to us. So every time we go to a new city, we get some new faces. That's true. Would we get more new faces in Boston? I don't know. I don't know.
Boston's easy to get to from Europe. That was another thought that I had.
Mhm.
But, I mean, if you did it in Boston, you know, and we knew it's going to open on a certain day, I wouldn't mind saying, okay, somebody can't take the subway, I'll go and pick you up, and I'll just spend the day shuttling back and forth. I volunteer now to do that if you wanted to.
If, just on that general topic, if you have a suggested location, you can send that in an email to president@warpstock.org. Be very specific with your suggestions.
Yes.
That there is air transportation, There's ground transportation from the airport to a hotel, and you've got a good hotel that, we aren't going to have to drive up with an armored car because of the cost.
I mean, suggestions are always welcome, but a little bit of legwork, because there are only so many of us. So a little bit of legwork, yeah, it's a great suggestion, we should have it in Oahu next year. I agree, well, let's all go, right? But at least take a look at, you know, what hotels are available for a reasonable rate, and you don't even have to do a lot of detailed research on flights that are available and whatnot, but just some general overall picture as to what it might cost from 2 or 3 or 4 cities around the States or up in Canada to get to that location. Something that we have something to go on when we try to make a determination as to whether we should take a serious look.
And there are things that people never look at. Going to Harrisburg, for me, the
Mhm.
fastest way was to fly to Philadelphia, which Southwest just opened a new Cub.
Mhm.
$99 return. Couldn't beat it. And then
Mhm.
from there, the train goes right to Harrisburg.
Yep.
And on the train, I met all the Europeans who had flown to Newark because the Keystone service goes down and then over to Harrisburg. And
Mhm.
no other Americans had anything to do with the train because, train? What's a train? You know,
Well-
it's just people's
Well,
outlook.
The fact of the matter is you have people that wanna take public trams. You know, last time I was in Boston, that's what I did, you know.
Mhm.
But there are people that don't wanna take public trams. There are people that really, it's uncomfortable for them to take public
Mhm.
trams. And, you know,
Let's have options.
That's a
Yeah.
factor. Yeah.
Basically,
Yes.
provide us with your suggestions with data to back it up, and then we'll work over the list that we get.
Just a sketch, spend,
Yeah.
20 minutes, a half an hour, just poke around a little bit instead of just sending us the name of a city that you'd like to visit. It's on your bucket list, right?
I basically, before Orlando was chosen, things were sort of bogging down a bit, so I checked with 3 different hotels in the airport strip in Toronto, all of which were free shuttles, all of which had restaurants on site. And the advantage was, it would have cost you about $75 US per night. Now, it would cost us $100 a night in Canadian dollars, but US dollars, because of the exchange rate, would be about $75 a night. And one of those hotels we've had a Warpstock at before, and one of the other hotels that I checked on, the person I spoke to was working for a different hotel that we'd also used in the past, and remembered me and remembered Jim. And so we got, we have contacts there. And I had a letter just last week from the one hotel saying, we're sorry that you didn't choose us this year. Keep us in mind for next year. So that's this goes a long way, and we happen to know that that's a good hotel. I checked out the hotels myself thoroughly beforehand. So, this is the thing that you have to do. When we had large numbers of people coming to Warpstock, at times we were 200 or more. Usually then, there were enough local people to put boots on the ground, and they would act as an event team and organize things for us locally. Now, we have a smaller number, and so it has fallen on the board of directors to do a lot of the legwork. So any legwork that anyone can do is much appreciated. Anything else from anyone right now? Then I'm basically,
I have one more thing to say, but if you wanted to
ahead.
say that you were finished, remember that Warpstock is a 501c3 charity. We are a tax exempt organization, and we exist by and for the benefit of all users of alternative operating systems. Our current focus is on OS2 and its derivatives. Anything that you send to Warpstock over and above your registration fee for the event is fully tax deductible to the extent any other charitable contribution would be deductible on your personal income tax if you are a resident of the United States. If you have donated to Warpstock, or if you will be donating to Warpstock before the end of 2016, look for a donation letter from me. And if you don't get one, please yell at me and say, I really want to have my donation letter. And just keep that with your tax records for the year. But we are completely tax exempt, and your money is very well spent. We run a pretty tight ship when it comes to expenses. To give you a little bit of an idea, this particular entity, Warpstock Corporation, was founded in 2006 when we took over from our predecessor organization. My office moved in 2009. I am still working through our original order of 100 checks because we write about 3 checks a year. Okay? And of the 3 checks, one of them is for the hotel for the event. Another one is typically to the caterer for the food. And the third one is to the insurance company who covers our liability coverage for the event. Those are typically the 3 checks that I write each year. So we're pretty lean with the money that's given to us, and we like to think that we provide a pretty good value for the registration dollar too. That's it for me. That's all I had to say.
okay, then, basically to wrap up, once again, I thank you for attending. Have a safe trip home.
We have the room all day, don't we?
What's that?
We have this room all day.
All day.
So